class, we will discuss about what is open educational resources and why there is a need and what are the different characteristics that are associated with open educational resources. So in the last class, we had learned about open access. What is open access? So the basic logical reasoning behind the open access was that since the public is paying for the research, so the output of that research should also be available to public without paying, like without, so there should be not double charging, double on the head of public. So basically that was the main logic behind the open access movement and open access whole this program. In this also the same model is there, that uh, for like for educational resources, when we talk about educational resources, that includes textbooks, that includes other learning material. So when we talk about the learning material, that should also be openly accessible to one and all, so that the countries which cannot afford better educational resources or system, or the uh, persons in the society who cannot afford a high level of education, they also get the value of education, they also get the education. So that is the main fundamental behind the open educational resources. So we will carry on what is open educational resources. So here the term open means what? Open means that it should be the educational resources that are like teaching, learning and research material in any medium, digital or otherwise. Means it can also be a print. Yeah, so that reside in the public domain. Public domain means it is available to public. It is not restricted that a particular organization who pays, or who is the member of that particular organization without paying also can only use that material. For example, like you have registered in our university as a student, so only you are getting this class, whatever we are teaching here, whatever material we are sending. So it is restricted only to the those two students who have registered in the in our university. But in open educational resources, there is openness. Anybody, it is available in public domain. Anyone having access to internet or physically also, they can also get benefit of this educational resources. Usually the educational resources are released under an open license. So in this we will also discuss about a little bit about what is open licensing. Open licensing means that there is no cost access, means there is no money involved. Use, you can use it without paying anything. You can adapt, you can make changes in the particular resource itself, and you can redistribute to others with no or limited restrictions, with limited restrictions or without restrictions also. So that is the openness that is involved in educational resources, not just open in the context of cost access, but also in the context of whether the freedom to adapt, to freedom to redistribute. So this basically, this open mantra, I say that they the concept of open source in the computer world, and then the open access in the scholarly communication, and the open science that is in the scientific community. And this all percolates down, and in a recent year, this new phenomenon of open educational resources have come into existence. So another definition is that open educational resources are openly licensed, freely available educational material that can be modified and redistributed by user. Even you can redistribute. For example, you see in Linux, like if you download one Linux distribution, you can make changes and then release it as your own distribution also. Similarly, for open educational resources also, the you can download open access educational resources, you can make changes in them, and then you can release that as your own creation, as your, you can redistribute it also. You can host it on your server, you can take print copies and distribute to your users. Whereas in copyrighted material, this freedom is not there. You can just access it, but you cannot redistribute it. You cannot make changes to it. So that is the difference. For example, you see, if you have India Today copy, online copy, India Today magazine online copy, you have only the access permission. You can access it, you can read it, you can comprehend it, you can even share among your family members only, but you cannot make changes to that article and publish it as your own, or you cannot crop up a particular article and share it with others, or you can put it on your website. So that kind of copyright restrictions are there, but in open educational resources these restrictions are not available. So anybody has the freedom, they can make changes, they can redistribute among their users, they can host it on a website. So this the same thing, that what the characteristics which we have discussed, we'll again talk about a little bit. So uh, openly licensed means they should be openly licensed. Openly licensed means you can इसमें हम लोग we will talk about copyright and licensing later. And then freely available without any cost, it should be freely available. And but physical OERs, like for example, if you're there are some textbooks also available openly accessible, and you download those textbooks and print it in a form of a book, and then you can charge for that book, but it should not be hefty charge, but it should be low cost, so that basically the fundamental is that the education should reach to all, whoever wants to get the education, it should be so affordable that it should reach to all. So that is the basic principle. So if you are printing it and publishing it as a textbook also, that should be of low cost only. And modifiable means the resources must be made available under an open license that allows for editing. Ideally it should also be available in editable format. You should also release your educational resources in an editable format. For example ki if you have created one animation, or say for example you have created one image of some, say for example something you want to teach. So you should, if you have created it using some open source software, say for example GIMP or Photoshop, then you should also release the file, that raw file of the Photoshop or raw file of the GIMP, so that if somebody wants to edit it, they should be able to edit it. Just sharing the image itself is not enough, so you should also make the editable format available to us. Then what are the benefits? We all know that, as we have also discussed, that uh, you can adapt it as a teacher. I can make changes to the resources and fit it according to the syllabus. That is one freedom I have. So I can take material from different OERs, and as per my syllabus I can modify it and I release it as a course or as an open educational resource. And then you can also fit it to your specific course content, like you can make translations, you can put local examples. That freedom is also there. And then you can network and collaborate with peers, access educational that have been peer reviewed by experts in your field. You can take help of your peers to review that particular educational resources before publishing, before making it available. Even people are involving in team for creation of this open educational resources. And lower cost, that is another benefit, that it enables all students to have equal access to the course material and provide students with opportunity to explore content before enrolling. So the students will have access to high quality educational material, and they will have an opportunity to explore the course content before enrolling itself in the course. So but there are some challenges also associated with OERs, and the biggest challenge is that uh, availability जो है, that may vary the lot of like for example subject availability. Most of the largest OER projects, they target high cost high impact courses to save students money. For example, you see that mathematics, statistics, biology, psychology, the courses which are of high demand, you only will see that OER are available. But for subjects having a smaller group, you won't find much OER available. So that is the one problem of subject availability. Another is format and material type availability. the format and the type of the OER that is developed, that also have been targeted for high enrolled courses. For example, students who are having good IT knowledge, or students having good access to digital equipments, the mostly materials are developed for them. But we know that such students can also afford education, but for the students whom we are targeting in open educational resources do not have much IT infrastructure or digital equipments with them. So that is again problem of the format and material type. Third problem is that it requires a lot of effort from the open from the teachers or from the course constructor or project constructor end to create one educational resource or to create a course. And mostly the people are expert in their field and they do not have much time to support OERs. So usually what happens that you have to spend a lot of time to create course, and that is a problem for OER community also, that getting a good content from well-known experts is difficult. And now we will see some of the open educational resource programs and initiatives. And one of the major initiatives is the NPTEL, that is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. And basically, it is a kind of open courseware initiative by the IITs of Indian and Indian Institute of Science. And they basically they are trying to enhance the quality of engineering education in the country by developing the curriculum based video and web courses. So a lot of courses are available, and this NPTEL is like from 2012 itself they are very well, they have offered several courses. And in fact I have also completed 2 courses from an NPTEL. So this is very good initiative. You can listen to lectures of IIT professors and IISc professors through this medium. So it is providing access to IIT professors and IISc professors to a common man, to a common, even anybody can register, and there is no fee for registration. And only you, if you are giving proctored examination, then only you have to pay some amount. And sometimes it is also funded, that amount is also refunded if you pass that course. Similarly, you see in this is the website of NPTEL, and uh, almost all the 7 IITs are there. The old IITs are there, and IISc Bangalore is also there. So it's a basically a project funded by MHRD, Government of India. It's a very good project. And the next one is that is another open educational resource, that is SWAYAM. This we will talk in detail also. What is SWAYAM and what are the different aspects associated with. And another is that is a consortium for educational risk communication, that is CEC. It is also a kind of inter-university center of UGC, and it creates a lot of educational materials, especially for the and usually it has all the like from school education, primary education to secondary education to higher education, almost all the fields they have covered. And they provide content to the Swayam Prabhat, that is DTH channel, the Vyas channel, and they have also some MOOCs also. And the open educational resources are also available, from where you can just learn at your own pace. You can go join a course and read the material of that particular course. So the basic fundamental is educate yourself with innovative learning experience. Means you can educate yourself if you have access to internet. Then there is one project called Open Project Oscar, that is open source courseware animations repository. So basically what happens, like usually for engineering and other disciplines where you need lot of animations to teach students, so you can get the animations pre-built from the right from the college level. Maths and science at school level also you will get. So lot of topics, lot of material are available as animations, so you can include this in your coursework. So from here you can download, that is one repository. Basically we have started with open access repositories, so I will come to this later. So basically now we will talk about open educational resources repositories. So basically what happens, like there are some websites that provide you content by which you can create open educational resources, from where you can get the content. Like for example, if you want to have data, if you want to have some images, if you want to have audio files, if you want to download some animations to, like for example in your book, if you want to put how the how elephant sounds, so you need the audio of the sound of elephant. So that kind of audio you can get it from some open educational resources repositories are available, some websites are available, from where you can download that content and include it in your content in your open educational resource which you are creating. So we will discuss about some of the websites or some of the repositories from where you can download OER content. So before moving on to the contents of the different websites, first we need to understand the concepts of open licensing and what is public domain, what is Creative Commons and copyright. So first thing is that first we understand what is copyright. So in copyright, all rights are reserved, and this is the symbol of copyright. So all original work is protected under copyright as designated by the owner. So whoever has to whoever the copyright is, always it will be written that copyright is with whom, and the all original work is protected. Work cannot be adopted, copied, published, or used without the owner's permission. Exceptions are there, but uh, by default you cannot adopt it, you cannot copy it, you cannot publish it, you cannot use it for without owner's permission. So you have to take permission before using that particular content for the other purpose. So that is copyright. But in Creative Commons, and if you talk about public domain, so public domain, no rights are reserved. So everything is free, everything is open fully. So this is the public domain sign. And it says that work published before 1923, work of long dead owners or when owners designate as public domain. So what happens that copyright has some years foundation, like after the death of the author, how many years the copyright persists, and after passing that year, the particular copyright, uh, the particular document becomes automatically comes in the public domain. So for every country there is some years are mentioned. There are some years after the death of the owner of the copyright, how many years the copyright will be with the owner's years. But and after that the particular document will be in public domain. So in public domain the work can be adopted, copied, published, or used without the owner's permission. So you see these days, if you go to some bookshop or like on you will find that Mahatma Gandhi's My Experiment with Truth is now everywhere available, but different versions are there. Why? Because every publisher, because that is now in public domain. The document is now in public domain. So anybody can take it, print it, publish it, and sell it. That is because it is in the public domain. So that is the definition, one example we can see of public domain. Now coming to a newer version of open licensing, where the concept of Creative Commons comes into picture. So in Creative Commons, what happens? It is not such so restricted like copyright. It is not so open like public domain, but it is the some rights are reserved. Some rights are reserved. The symbol is Creative Commons CC, and see, there are four basic concepts that are associative to it. For example, the symbols are there. Say for example, this symbol means attribution should be there. Attributions means that whoever has created, you have to always cite them, attribute them. And like for example, if I have created a PowerPoint and release it as CC, attribution license, then which means that you can use that CC, you can adapt it, but you have to somewhere mention that originally created by whom. You have to give attribution. The second one is the symbol is that is non-commercial. If I release my PPT under attribution and non-commercial license, which means that you are open, you can use it, you can publish it, but you cannot use it for commercial gain. You cannot gain money out of that if I put this restriction. Similarly, in non-derivatives, if I put this is equal to sign, which means that you cannot derive anything out of this. As it is, you can share, but you cannot derive out of it. And the last one is that is share alike. Share alike models say that if you are using this content, uh, so whatever license I have used to release my content, you have to also release your output, your content under the same license. Share alike means you should also share, you have to also share in the same license under which I have released. So for example, if I have released as attribution and non-commercial, and you are using my PPT and modifying it, and then you are releasing it, uh, you cannot release that under copy the commercial, and attribution you have to give, plus you have to release your output also as in the same license in which I have released. So that is share alike. So it has some restrictions. Any work that owners have chosen to be designated as Creative Commons, so I can designate my PPT or my material as Creative Commons, and work may be used without permission, but as per the rules above set by the so depends on the how the owner has set the permissions. It depends whether you have permission to use or not use, or you have the permission to attribute it or not attribute. So if I do not put any restrictions, automatically it will be in the public domain. So copyright is a kind of intellectual property. This we have discussed. And Creative Commons license is one of the several public copyright licenses that enable the free distribution of otherwise copyrighted work. And CC license is used when an author wants to give other people the right to share, use, and build upon work that they have created. So now we will talk about from where you can get the Creative Commons copyright free content, copyright free material from where you can get. So this is the website of Creative Commons, and it says that it has been developed in with the projects and policy to enable support open sharing of scientific information. The CC licenses and public domain tools are widely used to share scientific research and data. And we have also created software and developed policy recommendation that make it easier for scholars and policymakers to advocate for open solution to collaboration and information exchange. So like that they have this one they have designed that basically they want to open the science, or they can open freedom to share their data, scientific data, and they have also declared some policy recommendations like that. So one website from where you can get a lot of content is from Internet Archives. That is one kind of Internet Archive is a kind of website from that archives all the websites, all the content that is available on internet. So that is a good website, and but here everything is not copyright free. That you have to see in the Internet Archives. You if you go and search for advanced search, there will be one option will be there, only copyright free material. Then you can get only the copyright free materials. Then Project Gutenberg, you might have heard about Project Gutenberg. That is a very big project. So 60,000 the books are now scanned and made available under public domain. And this Project Gutenberg was a very good project, and it scanned almost 60,000 books from which books were basically available in public domain. So that is one website. From there you can get all the public domain books, all the old books whose authors have passed away, and now that book is under public domain. So all those books can be available under the from this website, Project Gutenberg. Then another website is called Wikipedia Commons. Wikipedia Commons is a kind of repository that stores a lot of media files, and like images and audio. A lot of materials are there, video are available. So from here you can get the sound of elephant. Uh, from Wikimedia Commons. It is just like Wikipedia, but only difference is that it do not have any, it does not have any article, but it has all the media like pictures, video, audio, etc. So from here also, you if you want to create open educational resources, you can create it. And if you talk about uh, the data, like from where you can get data, so there is a one registry of open data of AWS. From there you can search data sets. Also now Google also has launched one Google data sets. This is one website of weather data from Bureau of Meteorology. From here there you Australian data you can get. Then CIA also has some open data available, and Canadian government has open data. Our government also has one open data portal, open government portal, that is data.gov.in, that also you can visit. Then Crossref provides data about different bibliographic articles, bibliographic metadata. From the Crossref we can get. Then Australian government agency, they provide data site is another website. From there you can get a lot of research data available with different API. Then Figshare is another data repository. You might have heard that you can, if for example you have done some research, and that after doing research you have got collected some data, and now you want to share that data with others. So Figshare is one website where you can upload your data. It will give you one DOI also, and then you can get citations also from that DOI. Google Public Data Explorer, that I was saying, that Google also has a data set search. So from here also you can search different data sets. Hathi Trust is a one data set. International Monetary Fund e-library data, that is there. Pew Research Center also has some open data. Although Pew Research Center is a paid commercial body, but they have also released some data openly. Then Protein Data Bank, if you are from biomedical science, you can download a lot of biomedical sciences people. They have developed open data sets, databases, or data banks. From there people can download different structures of the protein, and the like Human Genome Project, that is openly available. Anybody can download that. So PubMed Central is also one database of from there you open access. You can download all the articles which are available in open access, available under a Creative Commons or similar license. There is one website called re3data.org. This is basically a global registry of all the data repositories, all the websites that provide data. That is one repository. From there you can search what are the different data repositories that are available. Then there is one website called Wikidata that provides basically extract data from Wikipedia, and it provides a lot of data in the form of triples, semantic web, if you might have heard. So a lot of RDF triples wise data they provide Wikidata. So it's also a good repository. Almost all the information is available. Whatever is available on Wikipedia, that has been ported in Wiki data. So for example, you want to know a population of India, that you can do from here. So I think Pediatrics is one website from where you can get pediatric data, pediatric information, that is there. And Wiki Educator is that is also one platform from where you can get a lot of contents, especially for general science, social science, humanities, like that. This is important that I wanted to discuss. OER Commons. OER Commons basically is a kind of a repository of open educational resources. So you see here, it's a OER Commons is a public digital library or repository of open educational resources. Explore, create, and collaborate with educators around the world to improve curriculum. So you from here you can search. For example, you if you want to search Indian history, you can search in Indian history. You can field wise, you can go to select your particular subject, educational level, 10th level, this one, and then you can search. So you'll get lot of material. As a teacher, I can download that as a OER common file, and then I can include it in my courseware, in my course. Also, if I have prepared one OER, I can submit it in OER Commons also, so that others can use it. So like that, it is one another forum is there. Then open textbooks, that also we had discussed earlier also in the open access textbooks also, but here also we can discuss. So like this is free medical books, open UCT, that is one platform. Smart history, Wikibooks is important platform, and Wikibooks is basically a kind of project from the same people who are behind Wikipedia. So here you can see that lot of books, like 3000 books are available at present, related to different contents like computing, engineering, humanities, language, mathematics, miscellaneous, social sciences. So a lot of books are easily available and people can download it and use it as per their requirement. Music and sound effects, if we see, Muse Open is there. They provide recording, sheet music, textbooks to public for free without copyright restriction. So basically you can get a lot of recordings, sheet music and textbooks. So if you music people, they need some sheets, right? So those sheets and music is there, it is available free of cost. Then public domain, for you, all the music that is in the public domain, some of the music are in public domain, so those you can get it from here if you want to use it for your video content or for your use. So for example, you might have seen like people use some Bollywood song in their recording. So if you put it and then you upload it on YouTube will send you a notice of copyright infringement. They will send you that do have you taken permission from the publishers, because it belongs to it is a copyrighted material. So you cannot do that. So if you want to have a like for personal home use, personal family purpose, you can use a background music of some Bollywood song, but for a video that will be uploaded on some internet platform, you cannot use it. So for that you need some free music or open copyright free music. That so for those purpose, you can go to public domain for you. And then there is a beat pick also, that they also provide the non-commercial, non-profit organization and students. Non-commercial, for non-commercial use, they provide free of cost some songs from different places. Then that is also Bumpfoot is a non-profit net label in Japan that provides Creative Commons attribution, non-commercial, share alike. This is one under this license they release a lot of material. And then CC Mixer is also there. From there you can get download, sample, cut, shape, share. You can upload your music, you can edit it, you can download it, you can share it others, like that. It is also under CC. Digital history is available. Then Free Music Archive, one website is there, but not all the music is not free, but some of the music are Creative Commons. So from clicking here you can search for the this one. The National Jukebox Library of Congress, they also provide the jukebox, and see the historical available to public free of charge. So this is publicly accessible, and you have to check for each recording there will be some copyright restrictions. Then we had also discussed about Wikimedia. Wikimedia also contains music also. And Free Sound, there's one website. Audio Library, these are not so popular ones, but the popular ones I have just already told. Open Music Library is there. This MIT also has K-12 videos. K-12 means students for kids. They also have some for science, technology, engineering, and medicine literacy. They provide a lot of video, so you can use that video and make your uh, content interesting. If you are a school teacher, or if you want to create content for school level people, students, that you can do. NASA also has some videos freely available under copyright free licensing, so that also you can use it in your videos if you want. Then there is one website called TeacherTube. From there also you can it is basically an aggregator. It indexes material from different websites and make it available at a single place. EduTube is like that only. And then community video, that is Hubble also has released some data. uh, Moving Images Archive, That is all in the Internet Archive itself you will find. Then video clips you can Pixabay also, that is a kind of Pixabay is kind of a image repository. So here you can get royalty free images for your content if you want. So allows no attribution and unlimited non-commercial commercial use except for sale or distribution of videos as stock videos. You cannot resell it as a stock video, but you can use it for your non-commercial purpose. And videos rather than image sale or distribution of video stock, man, choose videos rather than images. So you can get videos and images from here. TED Talks are also available. Some of the TED Talks are freely copyright free also, you can include them. For images also we have lot of material, a lot of like for example Google image. In Google images you can, while searching, you can filter the results by license, like where you can reuse with modification. You can directly label for reuse. So those images which are labeled for reuse, if you check this, you will get only those images which you can use it. So directly you can use those images in your video, or for commercial purpose you can use them. So anything you download from Google, you cannot directly use it. You have to check whether what, under what license that particular image is available. So that is the, that one Google image provide that functionality. So if you are looking for a non-commercial reuse, then you can use then non-commercial reuse with modification. So different licensing options are available in Google Images, and you can use this for to search images of your interest. So today we will stop here, and tomorrow we will talk about the different national and international MOOC initiatives and its overview.